Good afternoon. On the Fast Facts and Features with me, the brand ambassador for Ethical Flooring. Hello, Kevin.
Good afternoon, Jeanette. Is it nice and sunny in your part of the world there?
Oh my gosh. I have this thermometer on my desk that I can push it for Fahrenheit or Celsius because I do a lot of meetings all over the world. And some countries, like the United States, are still in Fahrenheit. And I said, can you believe it's like 75 degrees? It's supposed to be like 80 degrees Fahrenheit tomorrow, which is about 25 degrees. I think I was out this past weekend with some friends, and I mean, do you feel like July moved into August, August moved into September, September moved into October? The calendar is just all mixed
sure
up.
did. I think it's making up for kind of the crummy spring and early summer we had. So I will take it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I know we were on a roll, pun intended, talking about the different products. And today we were going to talk about carpet. And then when I woke up this morning, I get alerts about the different days around the world and where we can celebrate and cheer people on. And today is UNESCO's World Teacher Day. That back on October 5th, 1996, they declared today World Teacher Day because there was 3 teachers back in 1996. And I'll put the link afterwards because it's fascinating to read the story on why this day is so important around the world. It was in 1966, these group of teachers did something really spectacular, and UNESCO wanted to recognize them. And I can tell you, I have had some spectacular teachers that have been certified and teachers that, don't care that, years and years and years of, say, university going. So let's talk about teachers today. And I know you have 2 lovely daughters that are still in school.
Yes, I do. That's them and their teachers is what immediately comes to mind because, yeah, we've definitely run into some fantastic ones for sure.
So what do your kids say, your 2 lovely daughters say about their teachers when they come home from school?
Well, it depends which teacher it is, I suppose.
Okay.
Generally, on the whole, it's, they talk about the fun things that they do. Obviously, if the teacher has more of an upbeat personality and makes the classroom fun and engaging. And I know definitely everybody can't do that. And if I were a teacher, I don't think I could do that. But, the ones that do are really memorable. And, and even on the other end, I think of one in particular that, she was more on the strict side, but she absolutely loved her students. And we could tell as parents and so could the kids. So they had a great fondness for her. So, yeah, it's, you can make it work no matter what your teaching style is, I think. And it's fun. We're about a month into the school year now, and we got a whole new crop of teachers. And actually one of the sad parts for both our girls was in June was that they were losing, their teachers that they had from the previous school year. Everything just gelled so well and they were so happy. And, their teachers were their favorite part of the year by far.
So who would you say, Kevin, has been, say, the top 2 teachers in your life?
Definitely my grade 4 teacher, Mrs. Alcock was her name. Yeah, she was just an amazing woman, and she took school and made it really fun. And, all of these years later, it was a long time ago that I was in grade 4. I still remember her, and I still appreciate what she did. And then in the university level, I had a professor, Dr. Michael Moran at SFU. I think he's probably still there. And we were kind of, our areas of study, or my areas of study, was kind of off the beaten track in terms of normal psychology. So his was too, and we found each other. And, ultimately I didn't end up going on with my graduate studies. I went into flooring instead, which is a whole nother topic. But yeah, it was really fun to just explore things and be kind of the black sheep of the psychology world for,
Yes.
just because we wanted to do science and we wanted to do study a little bit differently. And, I appreciated him for that.
So I'm going to go back to grade 9, grade 10. I had Mr. Ronald Hill. and he was my math teacher, and he had such a way to teach algebra so I understood it, of all crazy things, that he was so kind, showed up, patient, would come down to like my level. He wasn't a teacher that would like hover over you to kind of teach. He
Mhm.
had his rolling chair, and he kind of would go up and down the aisles and sit next
Wow.
to you and learn. And I just so appreciate that. And I believe I mirror that now in life when I'm teaching, because I do teach. I have a side gig of teaching at a Fraser Valley Continuing Ed. And it's so important to kind of sit next to someone at their level, appreciate how far they've come and how far you can go together when in
Mm.
that teaching. So how about in life? Life, who is the person that you're like, "Whoa, that has been the best teacher of all of my life"?
I have two good friends currently, Alan and Aubrey, and they're both I consider my mentors and friends. So yeah, they're both really important to me. And I just had a conversation just not too long ago with Alan on the phone. I'm going through some things, and he's naturally the one to talk to and to share with. So both of them, who I'm sure will not be watching Fast Faction features with ethical flooring.
You never know. You
I
never
love
know.
you both. You're both been so important in my life.
So now we're going to flip it around. And it's like now Kevin has to be the teacher. Kevin has to be the teacher to his team, to his customers, teaching even your suppliers on how to behave, how to basically, you have to be the teacher. So what are some of the skills that you use in your teacher mode?
Um, I try to have humor, I suppose. And it's funny you mentioned that because I've recognized even in myself over the last year or two that I'm not new at this anymore. It's been 22 years on the sales side, and then some labor side before that. But and I've seen so many hundreds of people, sales reps, come through, and and like you said, it's getting to the point where I'm actually sometimes teaching them how to do their job. But yeah, if we can have fun, I can communicate and teach with somebody if it's a light, and if we're having fun doing it. If somebody doesn't want to learn or they're not hungry to learn, for me that's the absolute worst case scenario, and probably not the right fit for here. If I'm teaching in a work environment, we need people who are hungry, and there's no end to the depth of things you can know about this industry, let alone everything else in the world, which I try to fit in on my spare time. But when I'm at work, I gotta be the best that we can at this industry, right? And a constant hunger. And when I find somebody who is hungry like that, then that's great. Then we have fun together as we learn.
So peer-to-peer teaching, because I know this is really important at Ethical Flooring, because you often mention that you have senior project managers, you have newer or junior project managers, and heavens to Betsy, Kevin, if you had to be involved in each one of their learning journey, that I don't think you would ever sleep, my friend. I don't think you ever would sleep. So how do you set that up to have that peer-to-peer? Because I know when I started out in my management career, I'm going to say, yes, people, about 40 years ago, 35 years ago, and I found it so hard to go to my report direct, as they call it in the corporate world, but to go to another manager that was in my department and we could learn together was so powerful. And I didn't feel, quote unquote, stupid asking out questions. So how do you set your team up for that peer-to-peer teaching?
Yeah, two things come to mind. I mean, one, there's the official channels where if somebody comes on board and they're new, and they're not, the latest members of the team are not quote unquote new anymore, but they still haven't been doing it 20 years, right? So it's we paired everybody in their learning phase, and even ongoing with a mentor or a senior project manager. So there's that formal communication and path, and the supervisor is responsible for ultimately for the work of the people underneath them, which is important. And it's also never a frustration or a bother to come and ask supervisor for help, because that's what they're there for. So there's that, but then there's also the informal part of, and this is where having a great team of cohesive nice people just pays off, because there's some people on the team that maybe they're super skilled at like custom staircases with floating treads and open sides, and maybe that's become their specialty, and then another team member needs to work on something like that. Well, then they can just go to the person with with the experience to ask. And it's not a formal relationship. No one is ahead of the other, but it's this is what we do. We give and take, and we share, and hopefully, the goal is between everybody on the team, no matter what somebody brings us a project, we're going to be able to come together as a team. Even though one person may be spearheading it, we'll come together as a team on the back end and figure this out.
So we'll wrap this up, and I'm going to ask you one question. Are you ready, Kevin?
Go. As long as it's not how much hair I had when I was younger, because that's still a sore point. That's still a sore point for me.
So, Kevin, the question is, do you ever stop learning?
No. I could see how after decades in an industry, perhaps some people might want to mentally check out and just roll with it. But I don't know. That's not how I'm wired, and that's not how our team is wired. And there's always something more. And it sounds cliche, and I hate cliches, so I don't want to use them. But there's always, this industry changes every 6 months, and that's frustrating at times, but it's also fun. And we get to geek out on new technical specs for a new type of adhesive or a new type of moisture barrier. Or, most people think that's dull as dirt, and maybe it is, but this is the team we have, and we like these kind of things. So yeah, there's never any end. It's a very innovative industry, believe it or not. And that's fun to watch and be a part of.
Excellent. You mentioned a couple of seconds ago something about on a roll. So we'll roll back into our original conversation about carpet next week.
I love
today.
Carpet.
I just wanted to pause, because teachers are just so important in our life, and we can go about our life by teaching to smile at each other, be kind to each other, be present for each other, and recognize the teachers in our lives, that they're very, very important, especially the ones that go to school and take care of our children on a daily basis. It's not an easy job. So shout out to the teachers today. Thank you, Kevin, for allowing me to throw you a curveball today. Talking about teachers.
Of course. I appreciate the ones that watch my kids every day, and I couldn't do that. So
yeah, exactly.
Going and doing flooring is easier, I think.
There's like fit and finish all the time. Fit and finish all the time. Not with our children. So with that, tune in next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for another edition of Fast Facts and Features. We look forward to continuing the education of everything flooring and a little bit more. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, Jeanette. Take care.